Swearing-in ceremony for Governor Designate Mrs. Jane Owen. I'm Donna Bush. I'm glad you're here watching on our various CIG channels as well as listening in on Radio Cayman. The proceedings have started immediately inside the Chamber of Parliament.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this special ceremony to swear in our new governor. We will start with prayers.
Let us pray. Almighty God, the fountain of wisdom and the source of justice, whose will is good and gracious, and whose law is truth. It is through you that authority is rightly administered, laws are enacted, and judgment is decreed. We come to you this day, humbly beseeching you to bless and guide these Cayman Islands. Bless our sovereign, King Charles III, William, Prince of Wales, and all the royal family. Give grace to all who exercise authority in our Commonwealth, that peace and happiness, truth and justice, religion and piety may be established among us. We especially pray this day for the Governor Designate of our islands, Mrs. Jane Owen, for the Premier, the Speaker of the Parliament, the Leader of the Opposition, Ministers of the Cabinet, ex officio members, and members of the Parliament, the Chief Justice, and members of the judiciary, that they may be enabled faithfully to perform the responsible duties of their high office. We likewise commend to your unbounded mercy all those who live in these islands, that we may be blessed in and with the knowledge of your love and sanctified in the observance of your holy law. May we as a people be preserved in union and in that peace which the world cannot give. We make our prayer through your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
God save our gracious King. Long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save our King.
Please be seated. The acting governor, Honorable Franz Manderson. The governor designate, Mrs. Jane Owen. The Premier, Honorable Wayne Panton. The Chief Justice, Miss Margaret Ramsey Hale. Acting Deputy Governor, Mrs. Gloria McFeel Nixon. The Deputy Premier, Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly. members of the Cabinet, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Roy McTaggart, elected members of the Parliament, former legislators, Reverend Small, Ms. Calhoun, civil servants, ladies and gentlemen. As Speaker of the House of Parliament, I would like to welcome each of you here today, whether you are physically present here in the chamber or viewing from our live stream. This afternoon, we are assembled here to welcome and to swear in the Governor-designate, Mrs. Jane Owen, as the 15th appointed and second female governor of the Cayman Islands. The swearing in of a new governor has always been a time when the citizens of this country have welcomed the reigning monarch's representative at the commencement of their duties here in the Cayman Islands. Over the span of 52 years, we have had 14 governors thus far, and each one have brought their unique perspective to the role. Some helped the Cayman Islands carve a place on the world's stage, some created a bit of controversy, and some emerged themselves in our culture. Regardless of how they carried out their roles and responsibilities, they all left here appreciating the Caymanian people and culture. I certainly wish the same for you, Mrs. Owen. I must admit that I am very pleased for the women of our country today, not solely because we are swearing in a female governor, but because this will be the first time in the history of the Cayman Islands that the three arms of government will be overseen by women. Our country just recently highlighted the suffrage of the women of this country, who fought hard to ensure that women had a fair opportunity to vote and also stand for elections. There is a recently placed plaque on the Constitutional Hall next door, which has the names of the women who signed a petition in 1957, demanding to have their voices heard and the right to vote. These women, a few of whom are still alive today, and I do hope that they are watching online or on TV, have paved the way for a moment such as this to occur. Governor-designate, you will quickly discover that you've set foot in paradise. I believe you've already discovered that. You will be residing for the next 4 years where many people dream of living and vacationing. In addition to the diverse sea, flora, and fauna, the most beautiful part of these three islands are our people. The people of these islands pride themselves in the progress that the country has made, whilst at the same time, some share that they feel when we had less, we had more. We are resilient people. However, we're facing trying times. The global pandemic, coupled with the economic issues, has left many of our people of our country scrambling to make ends meet. I would urge you to take the time to get to know these islands over the next 4 years. Get to know the people. We have some 135 different nationalities living here. Learn about our culture. Learn about our issues and our struggles, and learn what makes Cayman like no other place on this earth. I welcome you to the House of Parliament today and to the Cayman Islands for the next 4 years, and I wish you a most productive and rewarding first governorship. We will continue to follow the program as it has been arranged.
Good afternoon. Warrant of appointment. Charles III. By the grace of God of the United Kingdom, of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of his other realms and territories, King, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, to our trusted and well-beloved Jane Owen, greetings. We do, by this our commission, under our signed manual and signet, appoint you, the said Jane Owen, to be our governor in and over our territory of the Cayman Islands, doing our pleasure with all the powers, rights, privileges, and advantage of the said office belonging or appertaining. And we do direct that your appointment shall take effect from the time of your disembarkation in our said territory. And we do hereby command all and singular our officers and loving subjects in our said territory, and all the others who it may concern, to take due notice hereof and to give their ready obedience accordingly. And we do hereby direct that this our commission shall determine upon signification to that effect being given by us through one of our principal secretaries of state. Given at our court of St. James the 16th day of February 2023 in the first year of our reign by His Majesty's command.
I, Jane Owen, do swear that I will well and truly serve His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, and the people of the Cayman Islands in the office of Governor of the Cayman Islands. I, Jane Owen, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to law. Thank you.
Your Excellency. Yeah. Let's start over. Your Excellency. Apologies for the technological problems. Your Excellency, Mrs. Jane Owen, I'd like to start by saying it is an absolute privilege to be the first to officially congratulate you after taking your oath or oaths as the 15th governor of our wonderful, beautiful Cayman Islands. A warm welcome to you also on behalf of the government and the people of our wonderful Cayman Islands. As we mark the start of what I have no doubt will be a very delightful journey together. This afternoon, we're taking part in a ceremony that has brought me great pleasure and pride as well. As of now, as indicated by our Madam Speaker, there are 3 women holding the top 4 positions on the Cayman Islands order of precedence. On 25th of October of last year, we swore in her ladyship, Honorable Margaret Ramsey Hale, King's Counsel, as Chief Justice, who of course administered your oath. We have the Madam Speaker, Honorable Catherine Ebanks Wilkes, who commenced today's proceedings, and she was of course sworn in November of 2022. She's the 4th woman to serve as Speaker of this Honorable House. I'm also pleased to say, Your Excellency, that I have the privilege of having a Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, District Admin and Lands, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor. Of course, she is one of those 4 women who previously served as Speaker of this Honorable House. And in addition to that, she served as Premier of our beloved Cayman Islands as well. Of course, you have now entered our history books as the 2nd woman appointed as Governor of our wonderful Cayman Islands. However, Your Excellency, I think you also represent an important first for us here in Cayman, as you're the first governor of these islands to be sent as His Majesty's representative, the King's representative. In 1971, when the title of the UK's representative was changed from administrator to governor, the late Mr. Athelstan Long became our first governor. And from that point onward, every successive governor, ending with your immediate predecessor, Mr. Martin Roper, was appointed by our beloved, Her late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II. Therefore, I think it's important to acknowledge that fact and to congratulate you, Your Excellency, on being the first governor of these islands appointed by our new monarch, His Majesty, King Charles III. Now, not counting our earlier brief exchanges today at the airport on your arrival, I've had the opportunity and pleasure, obviously, of engaging with you, albeit through video calls, I think just prior to Christmas, which I certainly enjoyed. And it left me with a very clear impression that you were a person of professionalism, integrity, and openness. And that gives me no doubt that the seat has been filled by an individual who is determined and committed to serve the people of these Cayman Islands as you have just taken the oath in respect of, and obviously to represent His Majesty of the United Kingdom. So while I'm looking forward to working with you and forging a very cordial and positive working relationship, I am, along with probably many other people, have taken the opportunity to do a little bit of research in the past on your outstanding career as a civil servant, especially in the diplomatic service, representing the United Kingdom around the globe. So it should be noted that you do possess some very, very impressive linguistic skills. I do hope that you take some comfort in knowing that you need only speak English in the Cayman Islands. Although I have to say, Your Excellency, that your German sounds most impressive. I had to do a bit of digging in relation to that, so don't ask me how I found that out. But Your Excellency, when your appointment was announced, we learned that you most recently served as the UK ambassador to the Swiss Confederation and Liechtenstein. Our Minister for Tourism and Ports, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, will tell you that while we can't boast of snow-covered mountaintops in the Cayman Islands, we do have the world's most beautiful white sandy beaches, absolutely second to none. I'm confident that you will be taken aback by the uninhibited views of 7 Mile Beach. And I think you had a taste of that when you went home for a quick lunch. Hopefully, if the weather cooperates, you'll be able to see your first beautiful sunset from that location in the Cayman Islands. The view from Government House is second to none. I will also admit that when I learned of your appointment as governor, I observed what appeared to be some degree of relief on the face of my colleague Minister for Financial Services and Commerce, amongst others, the Honorable Andre Ebanks. So while the minister is more than capable of explaining the significance and importance of financial services to our economy, to our country, to our people, it's refreshing to know that you bring very real-world knowledge and experience of this industry, having worked to promote financial services and trade between the UK, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. I must also state for the record that we have welcomed and enjoyed the support of successive governors who remained genuine advocates for the Cayman Islands and utilized diplomatic channels in support of our financial services industry. This was certainly true of your immediate predecessor, Mr. Roper, and there's no doubt in my mind that it will prove to be true for you as well, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the Cayman Islands have held a close yet unique relationship with the United Kingdom that has evolved over the decades. Looking back, it is fair to say that some of the terms used to describe in the past the constitutional structure of our relationship, like dependent territory, did not accurately reflect the reality of the on the ground here. To the contrary, we are a very proud country, and we have an established track record of effectively managing our own domestic affairs. This is perhaps partially a function of our relative geographic isolation, sort of being in the middle of the Western Caribbean Sea, but it is also a function of our people's drive for self-sufficiency, our desire to meet our own needs and to innovate and find ways of achieving that. But for most of our settled history, the Cayman Islands were hidden from the eyes of the world and became known as the islands time forgot. And while there are no significant grassroots movements championing a change to the status of our constitutional relationships, we are proud of the ongoing advancements to our Constitution, which have been brought about, which strengthen our democracy. just for a little context on how far we've come, Your Excellency, there was a time when the governor had the additional duty of serving as the presiding officer of this honorable house for no additional pay, I might add. And I think for those who can recall that time period, there was no limit on the period of time in which a member could speak. So, Your Excellency, one could well understand an argument that there was some degree of hardship paid you for having to endure days of representations on a particular point. Today, it is settled and established that all areas of domestic policy are delegated to the elected government with the UK through you, Your Excellency, as its representative, retaining special areas of responsibility, including defense, external affairs, and the civil service. These were hard-earned constitutional advancements, which have evolved over time after much learning on both sides of the Atlantic. It is fair to say that the UK has put its trust in us, and as members of Parliament, we're all cognizant of our duty to efficiently manage the affairs of our country. Just like any democracy, we have our moments, especially as we seek to balance the duties that we have as members of Parliament, representing our people, dealing with the local and community-based issues, but then as ministers, having to focus on national and even global crises. So as you settle in and begin to get the feel for our people and community, I think Your Excellency will observe that sometimes the most effective approach on a matter may differ from a position taken by the United Kingdom. Some hold the misperception that the governor only represents and protects the UK's interests as they relate to the people of the Cayman Islands. Your Excellency, I would say that successive governors have demonstrated and shown that this relationship is in fact reciprocal and it goes both ways. Your Excellency, there will indeed be times when you as governor will have to stand for us, speak out for us, and to utilize your first-hand knowledge I mentioned earlier of what is happening in relation to on the ground here, as well as your knowledge, as I said, of the external global matters to provide context and clarity to those in Whitehall and perhaps even further afield. Many within and outside of the public sector are rarely privy to the quiet yet important diplomacy that is directed from your office across the pond. But this balanced approach makes a world of difference. It bolsters trust and ultimately serves the greater interest of strengthening the spirit of partnership and mutual respect between the UK and our beloved Cayman Islands. Your Excellency, we have benefited from governors advocating on our behalf for financial services matters, promoting our efforts in areas such as the Russia sanctions, or perhaps the greatest example of support during crises, the COVID-19 pandemic. The British Airways air bridge, vaccines, acquisition of PPE, technical support for testing, and overall public health guidance are a few examples of matters pressed on for our behalf by the Governor's Office during the height of the pandemic-induced challenges. I hope you don't have to face any of those going forward. The combination, though, of that advocacy and in collaboration with the government resulted in an enviable record of high vaccination rates and low death rates in our country. Our healthcare system as well has proven to be resilient, having stood the greatest test of our generation. And I know that this is a great source of pride for my colleague Minister for Health and Wellness and Home Affairs, Honourable Minister Turner, and indeed our entire country, and I would hasten to add every member of this chamber, I'm certain. Your Excellency, we also fully expect that you will inform us when the UK wishes to take a position which is impactful on us. And obviously we have no quarrel in that respect. But we may not always find ourselves agreeing with this position, as I noted earlier. The people who we have the privilege of representing in this honourable House require us to articulate their interests, their values, and their perspectives. Therefore, when those occasions, I'm sure they'll be rare, do arise, it is certainly my hope that you will engage with us and seek to understand any concerns raised by our people, since it is our duty to ensure that the voices of our people, those who elected us, are heard. We also have to govern in a way that's constitutionally and legally sound for all the people who reside, arrive in, or visit the Cayman Islands. While it's a delicate issue affecting everyone who lives and works here, we continue to balance immigration needs with employment opportunities for Caymanians. That is a challenge I know the UK itself, or for that matter, any other country with a strong, globally competitive economy, has to contend with. And of course, I'm only confining my comments here to legal migration. Your Excellency, the newest minister in our cabinet, Honourable Dwayne Seymour, has been given responsibility for the Ministry of Border Control and Labour, and he is well equipped and committed to addressing the complex issues in this area. Now, as you get to meet our wonderful Caymanians and other residents of these islands, you will hear agreement that it is one of the most special places on earth. Unique in its beauty, charm, relative safety, and standard of living. However, you will also hear, as we do from the Caymanian people, concerns for the future of their children and their ability to find a good job, to own a home, and to be able to compete in a rapidly changing environment. Your Excellency, the growth we have experienced over the years is astounding. Recent estimates show that we currently have around 80,000 people residing here in our lovely islands. The most recent census done in carried out in late 2021, just under 2 years ago, recorded our population then at just over 71,000. So one can appreciate the very significant growth in population and the impact that brings. And while we're very thankful for the positive aspects and the growth that comes with that, as a government and a people, it can be challenging to keep up with demands. For instance, we've been experiencing worsening traffic challenges all over the islands, really, but in particular, our eastern districts, as of course the majority of our business activity remains centered around the western end of the island and the Georgetown area. The further you go towards the east, the more affordable property becomes, the more available they become for purchase or rental. And certainly our overworked road networks and inefficiencies with our public transport system forces people to own a vehicle instead. And that, of course, just compounds the problem that we have on our roads. And of course, the eastern districts, coincidentally, are home to our most arable lands. So we have conflicts with land use and things around that of that nature. So, Your Excellency, public transport and improving our road infrastructure are some of the priority areas that we have to address as a government. And my colleague, Honourable J.E. Banks, the Minister for Planning, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, and a few other important unnamed subjects, is, like many of us on the government bench, experiencing those realities every day and committed as we are to addressing those. I also wish to, of course, acknowledge that we have Parliamentary Secretary Mr. Isaac Rankin, the member from East End, who you met earlier, and he will be working with Minister Ebanks in that respect, as he shares and understands some of those issues and concerns. So many of the issues that we're dealing with point to a broader theme, Your Excellency, of sustainability. As our world faces major shifts in economic crises, geopolitical fragility, small islands like ours face greater levels of vulnerability to external shocks that larger countries can absorb better. Of course, we possess less and control less of the key factors for resilience in that respect. For instance, as a small island nation with numerous vulnerabilities, climate change presents a serious challenge across the time continuum for ensuring the prosperity of the Cayman Islands and its people. And that is why we have created to prioritize sustainability in all its facets, a Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Your Excellency, we're also formulating a comprehensive Cayman sustainability agenda that focuses on ensuring that these islands are a place for, and will be a place for Caymanians to live and thrive, while ensuring that it is a welcoming place for newcomers who wish to become part of our diverse social fabric. Perhaps the most underestimated positive impact of pursuing sustainability is the ability for us to protect our culture, our heritage, and our identity as a people. That is why Honourable Bernie Bush has taken on the mantle as our Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage. He has a very distinct passion for these subjects, and as a government, we are united in the view that the Caymanian way of life and our values are the true treasure that must be preserved and passed on to future generations. I know, Your Excellency, you plan on getting out and about to meet our people in the various districts. Expect to see within our communities individual characteristics, but all shared by a common history. You will meet the last of the generation of former seafarers who are now approaching their golden years. It was their remittances, Your Excellency, that helped kickstart our economy, helped to grow the Caymanian middle class. Their contributions to our society are immeasurable and have continued to have impact up until today. In fact, to give you a sense of our seafarers' longevity and participation in public life, this is the first time that we've had a governor sworn in before a group of parliamentarians that does not include a former seafarer. You will get to know other seniors who will share with you that they're still grieving the loss of Her Majesty the Queen, whose coronation many of them still recall. And I'm sure they'll share with you the sense of endearment they hold for the royal family and their excitement for the upcoming coronation of King Charles III, which you and I will have the great honor of attending in a few weeks' time as the representatives of these wonderful Cayman Islands. Your Excellency, as we're not a homogeneous people, but that's the beautiful thing about us. Gone are the days when you could be certain to tell a Caymanian merely by their last name or by their accent. Yet diversity remains one of our greatest strengths. Your Excellency, please believe me when I tell you that there was a time when you could not only tell what district a person was from, but what part of that district they were from based on their accent. There are a few districts that retain distinct accents. We have some, and they're to be celebrated. Unfortunately, many of our young people today are developing more of a westernized accent based on what media they're exposed to and demographic changes. But all of us in here, we encourage our own people to recognize that the way we speak is as important a part of our identity as anything else. But besides this, it is important for you to meet professionals, returning graduates, business owners, students, young parents, educators, healthcare professionals, and members of our clergy, basically Caymanians and residents from all walks of life. I hope you get the time to marvel at the beauty of our natural environment. These islands are incredibly beautiful. And there are sights and scenes on land and in the sea teeming with colorful and vivid examples of our Creator's glory. As a people, we once lived in greater harmony with our natural environment, depending on it for daily sustenance. Sadly, our natural environment can no longer sustain the domestic population it once did. This requires, Your Excellency, as I'm sure you can imagine, far greater stewardship on our part as we seek to responsibly interact with our environment. We work very hard to keep our natural environment clean, beautified, litter-free. Our cleanliness and level of care for our environment is one which is very important to our people. In fact, when we have visiting members from other parts of the Caribbean and many other parts of the world, that is one of the comments or observations they make straight away. We have no greater champion for greater civic pride and by way of keeping our communities looking spotless than my dear colleague and friend, Parliamentary Secretary, Mrs. Heather Bodden, who supports our Minister for Tourism and Ports, and she takes it very seriously. And as long as it is in her hands, the kids will maintain that perception. So, Your Excellency, ours is a relatively young but healthy democracy, continuously built and supported by strong institutions. Our civil service, under the capable leadership of our passionate and dedicated Deputy Governor, the Honorable Franz Manison, often does not receive the credit it deserves. To put things in perspective, you'll never hear of strikes crippling the delivery of services in Cayman. I think it's also worth mentioning that one sign of our healthy democracy is our ability to have smooth transitions between governors. And our acting governor, Manison, for that period, he's done it for a much longer period in the past, but he has very much demonstrated his ability and our ability to ensure that we can maintain governance while we're waiting for the baton to be passed. He has certainly shown but Caymanians can do any job, do it well, when given the opportunity. I also wish to acknowledge, importantly, Your Excellency, the other official member of the Parliament and Cabinet, the Honourable Attorney General, Mr. Samuel Bolgin, King's Counsel. Like us, you will no doubt come to rely on his vast experience, wisdom, knowledge, as he provides advice on navigating Cayman's comprehensive legal framework. Our independent judiciary is globally recognized as well, and as noted earlier, has just experienced a smooth and successful transition to our new Chief Justice, who, like our Attorney General, was not born here, but we are proud as they are to be counted amongst, have been counted amongst us as Caymanians. But we also have other robust bodies, such as the Office of the Ombudsman, the Auditor General's Office, and of course, the commissions established under our Constitution, which are designed to protect, serve, and further our democracy. So they all serve extremely vital roles. And most importantly, we have tremendous social capital. Many churches, religious organizations, nonprofit organizations, and service clubs are deployed throughout our community, addressing many areas of need. Our social cohesion heavily relies on these institutions to maintain our culture of generosity, altruism, and cooperation. You will see that throughout these islands, while the pace of life has accelerated, there are still many who demonstrate the ethos of our Christian values of loving their neighbors as much as they love themselves. It is seen in the acknowledgement of strangers in an elevator or in a waiting area. Small things like letting a car into traffic in the morning, the charity and fundraising efforts for the sick, and the paying of respects and attendance at funeral services. This is the Cayman Islands. I know, we all know, and we're all proud, Your Excellency, to call it home, and we're honored to be able to introduce it to you. Mm-hmm. So in closing, Your Excellency, I'm delighted to once again formally welcome you to the Cayman Islands and share this brief overview and perspective on your assignment. Today, you've taken an oath to serve His Majesty the King, his heirs and successors, and the people of the Cayman Islands. Every one of us in this chamber also took similar oaths, symbolizing our common purpose. From myself, you can expect a relationship based on principles of mutual respect, courtesy, and absolute honesty, even on those rare occasions where we may not see eye to eye. We also certainly look forward to having your daughter, Phoebe, join us in the Cayman Islands. It will, I'm sure, be lovely to have a member of your family joining you as you settle into your new home. So we really look forward to getting to know her as well. I do hope that she and perhaps other loved ones will come to visit you as often as possible, and they get to see where you have to toil. Your Excellency, on behalf of the government, we look forward to working with you to ensure a strong, prosperous, and bright future for the people of these wonderful Cayman Islands. And it is my hope that the United Kingdom continues to foster this mutually beneficial relationship with us, ever growing in its strength. May God continue to bless you and the people of these Cayman Islands as we embark on this new journey together, united as a government and as a country.
I stand before you today with a great sense of optimism as we welcome our new governor, Her Excellency, Ms. Jane Owen, to the Cayman Islands. Your Excellency, your arrival signifies an opportunity to further strengthen our relationship with the United Kingdom and to make lives better. I'm honored to be here to welcome you on behalf of the civil service and the wider public service. Before I proceed, let me express my immense gratitude to the Honorable Premier and my cabinet colleagues for their support and cooperation during the past 3 weeks. It has been a pleasure to chair a cabinet and to work with the Premier, ministers, and parliamentary secretaries. I can say without reservation that I had their full support, and I offer my sincere thanks. Premier, thanks also to you for your personal support and advice during my time as acting governor. I also take a moment to acknowledge Chief Officer of the Portfolio of Civil Service, Ms. Gloria Macfield-Nixon, for her time as acting deputy governor. As always, she delivered exceptional leadership in the civil service while I was acting governor. And of course, she is one of those outstanding ladies that Premier spoke about who are leading part of our organization. Thank you. Your Excellency, I'm proud to share with you a bit about my favorite topic, which is the civil service, which you are now leading. The civil service is the largest employer in the islands with over 4,300 staff, comprised of over 3,000 of my fellow countrymen and women represented at all levels throughout the diverse ministries and departments that make up our government sector. You will be pleased to know that 55% of the civil service are women, and they earn slightly more than their male colleagues. Yes. Additionally, 50% of our senior team are women, and women hold very key positions within the service, such as Solicitor General, Chief Information Security Officer, Director of Hazard Management, and the Director of Department of Environment. Civil servants oversee the provision of many critical services, such as education, security, health, immigration, transport, food, sanitation, and disaster response. Without hesitation, I can say that our civil service has performed with excellence and perseverance, resilience through the hard times such as COVID-19, the COVID-19 pandemic, and many tropical weather systems we face each year. I hesitate to say hurricanes, but the season is upon us, so I think we better acknowledge it. The work of the government through crises such as these has reinforced that what we do is critical for the business of the country, but also for the preservation of life when times are perilous. We have said it many times, but I applaud the outstanding performance of our civil and public services during the COVID-19 pandemic once again. They made us very proud. I thank my senior leadership team and all civil servants for helping deliver on the very bold vision that we have of being recognized as a world-class civil service. I thank them for collectively working towards achieving this vision as we do our parts in servicing the many needs of the people of these beloved islands. The work we do is often behind the scenes and out of the public eye. However, I say here today that the service works tirelessly towards achieving this vision of being a world-class entity. Governor, I believe you will be impressed by the talent and work ethic of our civil servants. Delivering results for the elected government is our mandate. With that comes high expectations for performance and a responsibility of leadership to help our people thrive. It is the people, not laws and policies, that deliver for the government. It is therefore important that our civil service is engaged and motivated. I am pleased with the excellent results of the 2022 Civil Service Engagement Survey, which I've already shared with you, ma'am. The survey shows that 89% of respondents are proud to be civil servants. Proud civil servants work hard for the elected government and are committed to the success of the service. Highly engaged civil servants provide exemplary customer service to our valued customers. This is evidenced by the results of our Happy or Not polling stations, which show that 93% of the over 800,000 customers who have participated in the polling said they were happy with our service. While this is a world-class performance, there are still many areas where we have not achieved our vision of being world-class. And therefore, Governor, look forward to tapping into your expertise and also your knowledge earned throughout your long and distinguished service. Your long and distinguished service will be invaluable as we strive for excellence in all that we do. Additionally, your expertise in areas such as trade, finance, and climate change will also greatly benefit our islands. I am confident that your sound counsel on these issues and other matters will be invaluable to all of us. While I have focused on the civil service, we are a small country, and I take this opportunity to join the Premier in extending to you a warm Caymanian welcome on behalf of all of our amazing Caymanian people. I am confident you will feel at home in no time as you explore all three islands and experience our culture of kindness, friendliness, good food, and fellowship. I do believe your predecessor may have warned you about our heavy cake, which is delicious but high in calories. In closing, Your Excellency, I firmly believe that together and working closely with the elected government, we can build a brighter future for the Cayman Islands. I will leave you with this quote from a great leader. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Let us all work together to create a better future for ourselves and the generations to come. Thank you, and may God bless our beloved Cayman Islands.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm sorry that I have a little bit of a frog in my throat today, but I will try to speak clearly so that you can understand my words. So to begin, Honourable Chief Justice, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Premier, Honourable Deputy Governor, Honourable Ministers and Members of Cabinet, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Members of Parliament, Commissioner of Police, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Honourable Premier and Deputy Governor, for the very warm welcome you've extended to me today. It's a privilege and it's an honour to have been appointed as the Governor of the Cayman Islands by His Majesty King Charles III, and to continue thereby to build this special and important relationship between the United Kingdom and Cayman. I'm greatly looking forward to working with you, Honourable Premier, and with all of your government and Parliament, and with all the distinguished representatives who are here today, in a spirit of partnership based on mutual trust and respect, underpinned by the clear resolve we all share to serve the people of these beautiful islands. Firstly, I want to pay tribute to Governor Roper for the work he has done over the past 4.5 years, for his leadership throughout the pandemic, and for being a source of advice to me as I've prepared to take on this role. And I wish him and Mrs. Roper all the very best upon their return to the United Kingdom. I would also like to thank you, Deputy Governor Manderson, for once again so ably fulfilling the role of acting governor, and I look forward to working with you and your chief officers as you strive to ensure that the civil service delivers for the ministerial team and for the entire community, as you have just said. The timing of my arrival is particularly auspicious, of course, as it affords me the opportunity to attend His Majesty's coronation in just over 2 weeks, joining the Honourable Premier in representing Cayman at this historic event. Immediately afterwards, the Joint Ministerial Council will provide an opportunity for the Honourable Premier to discuss with UK ministers priorities both in Cayman and for our wider overseas territories family. As I begin my appointment, I will have much to learn, and I hope that you will all help me to do that. I'm determined to ensure that our UK-Cayman relationship continues to grow and continues to bring benefits for both sides. In this world in which we live, faced with geopolitical shifts, threats to the freedoms we cherish, and the galloping pace of new technology, it is good to have firm friendships and mutual support. In working on this agenda with all of you, I will always respect the boundaries of the Constitution while being open to sharing expertise and experience from the United Kingdom where this can add value here in Cayman. And as you would all expect, I will focus firstly on those areas where the governor has direct responsibility: external affairs, defense, internal security, and endeavoring to promote the good governance that is the hallmark of Cayman. The war in Ukraine continues to rage in Europe, and I can imagine that this must at times seem to be a far-off conflict. But I know that Cayman is playing its part in the stand against dictatorship and oppression, in particular through the enforcement of sanctions, to ensure that Russia's unprovoked attack on a sovereign state is met with severe consequences. Cayman has frozen almost $9 billion in assets, and only last month, a sanctions forum in London praised your high-level cross-government coordination as a model to be admired by others. I'm also committed to working with you all to fulfill my responsibilities to ensure the safety and security of Cayman. This includes supporting our law and order authorities to meet new threats, protecting our air and sea routes, supporting you as you deliver robust and fair immigration policies, and most importantly, ensuring that we are all fully prepared to face each hurricane season. Hazard Management Cayman Islands have an excellent reputation across the region for the detailed work they do enhancing crisis response. The Cayman Islands Regiment has added a new dimension, combining the talents of a small but dedicated group of predominantly Caymanians who want to give back something tangible to their homeland. And there are, of course, many areas of domestic policy where the governor has no direct role, and I will continue to respect the authority of this Parliament in creating and passing legislation. I look forward to our weekly cabinet meetings, where I will support the effective handling of business, timely policy development, and strong oversight and analysis behind decisions. The strength of Cayman's economy and financial services industry, as you have said, Honourable Premier, is impressive and clearly well regulated. As the daughter of shopkeepers from the small town of Bilston in the West Midlands, and as someone who has spent a large part of their career promoting trade and investment links, I will do what I can to support you in continuing to build these strong economic fundamentals in an increasingly competitive world. In this respect, Cayman's overseas offices have an important role to play as we aim to fly the Cayman flag high. I cannot conclude without talking about the beauty of these islands that I've already seen from my doorstep, and the unique and fragile environment that you continue to curate, attracting visitors and residents from all over the world. I will support the Cayman government in its environmental and climate change initiatives, including signing up to the Blue Belt program and promoting Cayman's significant contribution to marine conservation in this iconic natural environment. I very much look forward to visiting both Cayman Brac and Little Cayman before I leave for the coronation, and I will return regularly throughout my time as governor to understand the unique place of the sister islands in the Cayman family. I am delighted that the United Kingdom has applied for Little Cayman's Marine Park to be recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the only overseas territory to be included in the UK's recommendations. And one of the most enjoyable aspects of my governorship, I expect, will be meeting the many people who make up Caymanian society and this diverse and vibrant culture. As a mum of 2 children in their early 20s, I know that young people have hopes and they have aspirations for the future, which they expect us as leaders to protect and to promote. This includes being able to support themselves and their families, to live free of crime, and to enjoy happy and healthy lives. Throughout history, change has perhaps been the one constant that is guaranteed, isn't it? But we can shape and nurture that change to reflect and create the kind of society that we want to see, offering opportunities for all through fair and transparent governance, benefiting from the strong traditions within this Parliament, within our civil service, the judiciary, government agencies and institutions, and community and church leaders throughout these islands. I hope I will really get to know people from all walks of life and to be able to listen to their priorities and their concerns. So in conclusion, Honourable Premier, it falls to me simply to say again that I am both humbled and excited to be appointed as governor and to have this opportunity to work with you all. And I wanted to reiterate 3 commitments. First, to listen and to learn. Second, to further strengthen this great vision that we share to ensure that Cayman remains vibrant, successful, safe, and resilient. And finally, to devote myself to the service of all the people of the Cayman Islands on behalf of His Majesty the King. May God bless the Cayman Islands. Thank you.
Oh, land of soft, fresh breezes, of verdant trees so fair, with thy Creator's glory reflected everywhere. O sea of palest emerald, merge into darkest blue. Whene'er my thoughts fly Godward, I always think of you. Dear verdant island set in blue Caribbean sea, I'm coming, coming very soon. Oh, beauteous isle, to thee, although I've wandered far, my heart enshrines thee yet. Homeland fair Cayman Isle, I cannot thee forget.
And we've been watching live coverage of the swearing-in ceremony for Her Excellency Governor Jane Owen, the 15th Governor of the Cayman Islands. I'm Donna Bush. We thank you for joining us here on our Cayman Islands government channels.